Everybody knows that feeling when you're first starting off. Your fingers and forearms give out mid-roll. That forearm pump is so gnarly you don't think you'll ever recover. That's mainly because the grip strength required for jiu-jitsu, gi and no gi, are grips that we really don't train everyday life, so it's not your fault. The way that we load and train our grip strength needs to be very specific when we train it for jiu-jitsu. So I measured my grip strength to get a baseline measurement so I could test before and after. This is what I did to drastically improve my grip strength over the next 12 weeks.
Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of...
The highest of my first 3 attempts when measuring my grip strength was 80 pounds. 80 pounds. I honestly thought that my grip strength was stronger than that. That's pretty pathetic. For the first 4 weeks, I worked on hypertrophy style weight training, which is what most people generally think about when they start to specifically train for grip strength. I targeted the forearm muscles, including the wrist and finger flexors located on the inside of the forearm, and the wrist and finger extensors locating on the outside of the forearm, as well as the finger muscles called the lumbricals. But these muscles are responsible for being able to maintain grip when you can't flex the end of your fingers. Now, the lumbrical grip isn't one that's often talked about, but these small intrinsic hand muscles are responsible for flexing the fingers at this knuckle without the tips of the fingers. So like whenever you're grabbing somebody's wrist or when you're tying up behind somebody's neck. So these are exercises I performed to help develop a good baseline strength in my fingers and forearms before going into longer, more intense holds in the second month. In 2 of my previous videos, I talked about how different tissues adapt to different stimuli and how some take longer to adapt than others. Grapplers very often hold on to grip for minutes before making a quick movement to gain position. The majority of our capacity to perform with our grips in jiu-jitsu is going to depend on our tendon health, since the main function of tendons is to store and distribute force. So from week 4 to week 8, I started in a supported hang position on the rock climbing grips and an inverted position with rope and cloth grips, focusing on increasing my time week to week until I could hang unsupported with the rope grips. I wasn't able to hang unsupported with the cloth grips. Notice how I was tucking my fingers as if you're grabbing a gi instead of holding on like I was to a rope. This makes it much harder to hang unsupported, but mimics better hanging onto a gi. Weeks 8 through 12, I still maintained the different grip holds. However, midway through the hold, I began to add pulling movements. So as we know in jiu-jitsu, your opponent is always trying to break your grips, whether it be through posturing up or hand fighting with your grip positions. So adding the grips with the pulling movements allows us to adapt to the nature of jiu-jitsu. So I cut the hold duration in half and added rows with each grip variation, except for the rock climbing grips, increasing the number of reps each week. If you find the PDF useful, let me know in the comments so I can keep including them in some of these videos. My final grip strength reading was 160 pounds, which is double or a 100% improvement. I can't tell you how much more comfortable gripping the gi feels. I don't lose my strength as much, and I can last much longer during a round. It's completely changed the way that I approach jiu-jitsu since I'm not so limited by my grips anymore. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.